How to recover from an ankle sprain. The fastest way, go from bad sprain to recovered in 2 days. It's actually possible. Welcome in, fam. Much love, Trav here. Shout out to my athletes over at Hoops Movement YouTube and those of you following at Travis Wu. Whether you have an ankle sprain now or in the future, or you have a bad injury now or in the future, this is very, very valuable, relevant information so that you can heal quickly. The scientific way, the fast way, so you have better performance, you get back to your life, so you have less pain, so that you have less swelling, so that you have less scarring. And unfortunately, many of us are lied to on the proper way by people who care about us, people who love about us. Not lie, but just people have the wrong information, people have misinformation. They go by wrong science, stuff that's unproven, based on reasoning that is unsound. So we're going to clear that up today and help you recover faster for this current injury or this next injury so that you can have a more active life, get back playing sports sooner, get back on your feet sooner, less pain, better performance. And for me, my story, I had many, many ankle sprains and injuries growing up, probably sprained about a dozen times throughout the years. Shout out to the wind out here, especially playing sports, basketball and soccer. And a lot of the time I didn't know what to do. But over time, one thing I learned is to be more careful so that I got injured less and to have stronger ankles so that I got injured less. But sometimes you still get ankle sprains. So I had a pretty bad ankle sprain 1.5 days ago, skimboarding, coming down with some friends at the beach, sandboarding, fell awkwardly. It rolled my whole body weight over my ankle, turned it inward, had a pop on the outside of it, extreme pain in the bone, but 2 days later, I'm totally good. So we're going to talk about how I'm able to do that, and I'm going to go into the scientific and cite studies, and also scientific explanation. Those of you who are skeptical, good, be skeptical. I'm going to give you some information so that you can go ahead and Google it yourself to confirm or deny what I'm saying, because I'm going to tell you to ignore the most common advice you will get, and I'm going to explain why as well. But it's like, fuck, I don't know if I'm going to be able to even walk back to where my friends are hanging out because I was alone down the beach. I don't know if I'm going to be able to work tomorrow because I work outside on my feet. Super painful. It didn't swell immediately, but I'm like, you know what, I'll just walk back to the camp through the sand. I don't have too much of a choice on that. There's ice in the cooler. So I could have put my foot in ice and laid back. But you know what? That's actually the worst thing you can do. Rest in ice is the worst thing you can do. It delays recovery so much. It causes it to drag on. It creates more scarring. It creates a weaker joint, weaker ankle, increases the risk of more injury later. And first of all, everyone will tell you to ice. Everyone will tell you to rest. Just don't do it. And I'm going to explain why. First, there's no scientific evidence that it's helpful. There's none. If you can find one study that shows that icing helps with injury recovery, try to Google it, try to find it. I bet you can't. Prove me wrong. Put it in the comments. It's just not science, right? And I'll explain why that is. There's a really good book on this. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but if you Google or if you YouTube on my Hoops Movement channel, Think Twice Before You Ice, you'll find a link to that book, and that's basically covering the science of how it works. But basically, people will tell you, ice it because it will reduce swelling. Well, if you ice it, it will delay the movement of fluid to the affected area. It will slow down the recovery process. It slows down. Look, when you injure yourself, your body's going to send a bunch of repair cells. That's not wrong. You want to encourage your body to do that. You also want to encourage the outflow of that fluid so more can come. You want the maximum cycles of fluid coming and going to the injured area. So instead of, basically, if you ice it and do nothing and rest it, it's going to stagnate. It's just going to delay it. You're going to get that. It's going to make it harder for the repair cells to come and cause more swelling later on. You want to embrace that flow of fluids to the affected area and try to clear it as much as possible through movement. So the worst thing you can do is rest in ice. The best thing you can do is walk it off. And I'm going into a little bit more detail on that, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to ice because I know better now. I know the science of this now. Oh my God, there's dolphins out in the water. And those of you guys who don't know from Hoops Movement, I'm now moved out to Hawaii, living on and working on an organic farm, doing organic farming. So there's dolphins, threw on my mask, friend's mask, went out, kicking my feet, painful ankle in the water immediately, and swam out there, walked around, didn't really tell anyone, came back. So that night, didn't ice it, did ankle circles, laid on my back, elevated it. So what's actually proven? Ice is not proven. Rest is not proven. Rest, for the most part, is proven detrimental for a sprain, actually. The question is, what's proven and why? So 3 things that are proven: movement, elevation, and compression. Excuse me. Basically, movement, elevation, and compression, those are 3 ways to speed the outflow of fluid from the area. Again, you don't want to prevent the fluid from coming. It's like when you have a major car crash on the highway. Do you want to slow down and stop and disrupt the signal that would bring out fire trucks and ambulances and police, because that's going to cause a traffic jam? No, you want to actually encourage them to come faster and then help the area decongest by getting all that traffic out of there, right? So you want to welcome all the swelling, all the inflammation that's coming in, but you don't want it to pool there. You want to clear it out. So how does fluid move out? One thing is the heart. You don't have too much control over that, and it's not the strongest mechanism for moving fluid, actually. Movement is. So movement, the muscles create a pump that move fluid out. So the best thing that you can do is sprain ankle is ankle circles, walk on it, move it around. So that's what I was doing. And that's why the next day when I woke up in the morning and it was all swollen, it's all swollen. Why is it all swollen? Because I wasn't moving it overnight. So the worst thing I could do on the first day after is ice it. The worst thing I can do is rest it. I almost didn't go to work, but it's like, actually, once I get moving, the swelling starts to go down, and periodically do ankle circles and move it around, etc. And then second thing is elevation. So when you're standing all day or you're sitting, it's going to pool. If you get upside down, gravity is a mechanism for moving fluid. So I like to hang from a bar. I like to do headstands. The easy method is just to roll on your back and put your feet up. And I'll do that a couple times throughout work. So you should be doing that periodically throughout the day to clear the fluid. Gravity, elevation. Another thing that's really helpful is compression. Compression is also proven to clear fluid. And that comes in a few forms. The first one is with the thumbs, massage. Massage is a method for compression. You can you can feel it physically moving fluid by pushing it out of the area, right? So massage is a form of compression. Squeeze the fluid out. Another form, if there's been pooling of fluid, once I realized, I've been on my feet all day, I've been moving it, there is some fluid that's pooled in there. Why don't I throw on this compression sleeve on my ankle, squeeze some of that fluid out there? That's helpful. And you could sleep with that on because you're not moving. I didn't do that. I'm not 100% on that. But, I encourage you to Google yourself and look it up. And also to try this method. It makes sense. It works fast. I'm on the next day. I've been working on my feet the last 2 days. Up early, lots of sleep is also helpful for healing in general. It's important to get plenty of sleep. Sleeping, if you don't sleep, that's going to slow it down a lot because that's where a lot of the growth, the repair happens, because there's going to have to be new shit going on in the affected area. But it's so nice. Like, if I didn't have this information, then I wouldn't be at work. I would be hobbling around still. I would be on crutches. I'd be icing it. Instead, I'm totally good. Not even 48 hours later, like a day and a half later, because I understand. So this is not about me. This is about you. This is about your injury, your injuries, future injuries, and the fastest way to recover from them so that you can have the healthiest life, bounce back as quickly as possible, and get back to moving. So appreciate you. Thank you. Let me know what you think in the comments. I encourage you to test it out and try it for yourself. Promise you, it will make a big difference. It's gonna be awesome. So, yeah, and spread this and share it as well, because a lot of people just don't know and are acting on the wrong information and basically hurting their own bodies. So it sucks that so many people are doing the wrong thing, and pretty certain in this case. Again, I challenge you to go Google. You can find plenty of studies on there, but it's pretty hard to find one that says that rest and ice is going to speed recovery for an ankle sprain. So anyways, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go walk around. Oh, actually, one more thing I wanted to mention. It's okay that I forgot this till the end, because it's not as relevant. Hang on, I missed a couple things. Compression. Another form of compression is getting in the water, swimming, or being in a pool. Wherever you are, you can get in a pool. You can afford it. It doesn't have to be expensive. You may not have the lake or the ocean or streams to play in, but get in the pool. That's a good way to let you move, do some weight bearing, and get some compression going on it. That was one of the points. Another thing that I think is helpful, there aren't as many studies on this towards recovery, but there's plenty of studies on this towards health, is being barefoot on soft ground, like sand, barefoot in sand. It feels nice. Barefoot in soil, it feels nice. I'm not telling you to walk barefoot on concrete. That's stupid. You should wear shoes on concrete. But if you can, especially when you're injured, like go for a walk on the beach slowly, or go for a walk on the... when I was in the city, there's no beach. I used to go to the football field and go walk in the turf or walk in the grass. That's pretty helpful. I think you'll notice that will speed up recovery as well. It's movement, and it's movement in a natural way outside of the shoe that lets you get the maximum range of motion and everything that you're doing. So boom, compression, elevation, movement, compress with the hands, compress with sleeve, movement. Just do as, don't sit, get up and move. If you have to work, then move it while you're sitting at your desk or standing at your desk. And compression, compression, and elevation, get upside down. So that's all. I hope you found that useful. Look forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments. Peace.